Hello, everybody. Today we've got on two of the strongest juniors currently in the USAPL. We'll see how long that lasts and where they go. But both names that if you don't know yet, you should definitely be watching out. So we got JJ Faulk, the current 100-kilo Open National champ, and Alex Luckow, better known as Lucky Lifts, probably by most of you, came second this past year at Nationals, and we'll see. So we'll have you both introduce yourself. So JJ, just go first. Give a little introduction.
Okay, yeah. My name is JJ, jj.fau1k on Instagram. I'm a 100 kg junior lifter. I went open Nats. I won Team Nats before, second at C Nats, and yeah, that's it.
Okay. Lucky, go.
Yeah, my name's Alex Luckow. Most people probably know me by Lucky. I'm an 82.5 kilogram lifter. My biggest accomplishment would be taking second last year at Nats, coached by Marcellus Williams, aka the Swole Fesser. He's awesome. So shout out Marcellus. So yeah, that's most. I pull beltless deadlifts. That's notable. That's notable. People know me for that.
Okay, fine. So let's just get right into it. So, well, before we talk about the current events, I guess we'll just start from the beginning. So both of you, obviously juniors, and JJ, you were a teen, right? When you won
Yeah, I was
nationals,
a
you were
teen.
19, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
both really young, both like popped onto the scene and basically moved straight into like relevance, like even at the open category, which is not common. Obviously, there's a lot of strong juniors out there and people that are putting up pretty big totals, but it's not so often that you actually have juniors that are already there in the open. So what's your background, both of you? Like I think Alex, I think you played baseball, right?
Yep, I just played baseball. So
So JJ,
played that.
yeah. So JJ, what was your like? How'd you get into powerlifting?
Well, I played all types of sports when I was super young, but in high school, I was serious about wrestling. So for wrestling, I did a lot of weightlifting, and weightlifting was more important to me than wrestling at the end of it. So that's why I just played wrestling and focused on the gym because I don't know, I fell out of love with wrestling and just wanted to lift.
Okay,
Yeah,
and then
that's kind of what happened with me. Is I played baseball up until like senior year of high school, and then senior year of baseball. That's when I was really getting into lifting, and I just wanted to lift to get stronger for baseball. And then senior season got canceled from COVID, and like summer got canceled from COVID too. So I was like, all right, we're just gonna lift. And by that time, I did my first meet like a few months earlier, so couldn't really do baseball anymore. So just switched over and ended up being better at lifting anyways.
right, yeah, that seems to be the common theme. If you look at a lot of the top lifters, maybe I don't know so much about the older ones because whatever, I don't know their backgrounds, but definitely like a lot of the top lifters like in their 20s, like they all like most of them started lifting for whatever sport. Like I mean, not all of them were like particularly good at the sport. Like some like Angelo Fortino always talks about like he played baseball, but he wasn't actually good. But like
Yeah,
a lot of
I was
yeah,
never the best on my team. Maybe like middle of the pack at best.
right. Well, and then definitely you're better at powerlifting than you are at baseball.
Yeah.
Right. No, so it's common. I mean, I think in general, people with like that athletic background do better in powerlifting for like a lot of reasons. I mean, also generally you have some sort of strength base. It's like much harder. Like you don't see so many people who just go into the gym like as whatever some random like teenager, and then just like I mean you do see it, but it's not as common, and then just get strong and then find powerlifting. So I think the sports background like definitely helps, or at least I don't know
Yeah.
if it actually helps, but like it definitely just from like anecdote, it has looked like it's very common.
I think it definitely helps because it helps with the mental aspect. It helps with failing. A lot of times people can be really, really strong, but they've never competed in anything. They never failed. So if you have experience with that in a sport prior, it helps a bunch.
Well, that's true. I didn't think about it that way, especially like baseball. You're coming from a sport where like like
Yeah.
if you whatever you bat like 350, you're insanely good. It's like you're used to
Yeah.
like failing most of the time.
Yeah, like the
So,
best players fail like 7 out of 10 times and they get paid
Right.
millions. So
Okay,
yeah, I
fine.
think that's something people don't talk about a lot is like the discipline aspect and just learning how to fail, which sports teach you to. You can learn it from powerlifting too, but it might just take a bit of time.
Right. Also the pressure aspect, like until you get to a pretty high level in powerlifting, there's really basically no pressure. Like, I mean, people feel pressure when they're lifting, like at a meet in general, but like that's just internal pressure. There's no like external pressure until you're like I guess for no better way of saying it, relevant. As opposed to
Yeah.
like when you're playing in any sort of team sport, there's always external pressure because every other player on the team, like whatever you do affects all of them. So, and even individual sports, there's still pressure because like you're playing in an actual competitive, presumably. So,
Yeah.
okay, fine. All right. So you both started with sports and then you moved to powerlifting. Okay. So, you Alex, you mentioned your coach Marcellus. We'll get more into that later. JJ, who's your coach? I have no idea who it is.
Currently have no coach. I'm just working with myself right now.
You're self-coached. Okay.
Yeah, at the moment.
I feel like it's getting like, not that it's common now, but it's slightly more common. Like I remember somebody was talking about this a couple of years ago where they were like, if you look at the top like 10 in like all these weight classes, there's like 0 people that are self-coached. Like it used to be like everyone, even the ones who are coaches, almost all of them had a different coach. But I forgot who else told me this recently that they were also self-coached. But so have you had a coach previously?
Yeah. I was coached at Midland by Tim Anderson, and then I was coached by Justin for a while.
Oh, okay. Oh, I think I knew that. You were when were you in Midland?
Um, I was there for my freshman year of college, so 2021. Yeah,
Okay,
2021.
so you did the whole Midland schedule. You went to CNATs, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And 2021, no,
No, 2020.
Lombard was.
I think it was the end of 2021, and then the CNATS was 2022 at the beginning of
Oh,
the
okay,
year.
so that was the Lombard, the Chicago Lombard, whatever. That
Yeah.
one. Right. Okay. Fine. And then when you started, you were. I mean, that was with the regular weight classes before they changed it. So you were, what were you, a 93 or 105?
Yeah, the weight class was switched in the beginning of my season at Midland. So I started competing at Midland as a 93, and then I went up to 100 to compete at CNATS.
And were you competing before? I mean, presumably you have to have already been competing before you were in Midland, right?
Oh yeah. Before Midland, I was a 93. Yeah.
Right. So you started your career as 93. And Alex, you started at 74, right?
Yeah. I want to JJ started TikTok famous.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
you were so when you right, you're new enough in that when you started, that's funny because like if you're above a certain age, like you couldn't have been TikTok famous before you were powerlifting famous. But wait, so were you like doing like just putting like lifts and stuff, like all the clout lifts on TikTok before you got into powerlifting seriously, or like when you were in powerlifting?
Um, to be honest, I wasn't really posting much of like my individual lifting. I did like challenges with my friends, like see who could like
Yeah.
do the heaviest Jefferson deadlift and like
It was
strict
fun to
squat
watch.
and stuff like that. Yeah, it was lifting, but not like much about how much I could lift personally. Oh, and
Wouldn't you
then like
like
yeah, there's a thing where I did like the trying to find the strongest 16-year-old thing.
yeah. Wouldn't you like squat like 600 pounds in like Crocs or something?
Dude, nah, that's not
Okay,
me.
maybe that's a different
I
one.
think that was Bob probably. Like your story honestly reminds me a lot of Bob because
That
kinda,
actually right.
he kind of started as like a meme lifter and then like got more
If you
serious as he went
if
on.
you if you scroll back, you'll see him doing like single arm push-ups, stuff like that. So funny.
So you were doing like random lifts also, or you? I mean, you got into when you
No,
got
me,
into powerlifting.
me.
Oh, not you. Oh, you're saying Bob.
Yeah, Bob was. If you
Oh,
like
yeah,
scroll
yeah.
back on his Instagram.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember I think, I mean, I got on Bob. I knew Bob like decently early. Like, I think one of the videos that made him famous early on was he did like this 1,000-pound total in 10 seconds, where like he like squatted, dumped the bar, jumped over the bench that like it was like, and that got like that went pretty viral. And he had nothing to do with powerlifting then, but that's like when I found him. He actually, when he started powerlifting, he came to my gym. So I remember when he wasn't even, he was like barely over 83 then. Now he's 120. It's pretty crazy, like what people with like genetics can do when they just actually focus on it. I mean, you have the same coach as Bob now, so would you ever, not would you ever, I assume the answer to that is yes. 83s, 93s, like,
Yeah.
do you have
yeah, I believe you started saying like I started at 74 before I cut you off with the JJ TikTok comment. But yeah, I started at 74. To be honest, I'm surprised I'm still at 82. But really I'll move up once I stop progressing and once it's a struggle to stay healthy. So we've gotten in a pretty good groove with training and everything, to where I'm able to stay relatively light. We're progressing, so just gonna stay here. But I'm not scared of going up.
How tall are you?
Like 5'8".
Okay, so you're definitely on the tall side for 82 and a half, 83.
Yeah. Not so tall to where it's like impossible, because I think Bornstein's right around my height.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't say like you're too tall for the class, but like if you look at a lot of the, I mean, even in the 93s, like if you look at like a lot of the best 93s, like I mean, Keiko's short, Gavin's really short, Petrie's like probably like 5'7".
No,
like
Petrie's taller than that. Petrie's like
my height.
5'10". Petrie's like
really?
5'10",
No,
5'11".
Petrie's not 5'10". He's definitely not 5'10". I remember taking a picture of Petrie and
I'm
he's not
5'9",
my
and
height.
we're the same height.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
So maybe he's taller. Okay, but a lot of them are shorter. But I mean, whatever. It's hard building into a class. Usually takes like some time. I mean, like once you're past like the lightweight class is often like you can build from one to the next like much easier because people just like force themselves. Like you see so many like I mean, not so many 59s because there aren't so many, but like 59, 66, like when they move up, like they can usually like fill out the next class like much quicker just because they're like legit like starving
at the
themselves.
Class already.
Yeah. Yeah. So does Marcellus do your nutrition also? I know he does like nutrition, or he just does your
Yeah, he does. We don't go over that all the time. It's more so just follow it. I usually know if I need to cut a bit of weight, just go down on a little bit of calories. So I have that pretty good under control.
What do you sit at?
Right now I'm like mid 85s, like 85 like 85 to 85.5.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
JJ, for you, you're under 100 still, like, yeah.
This morning I was 221, so yeah, I'm like right there.
Okay, so you're right there. So you're sitting there. So okay, so 100 is not really a cut. For you also in terms of weight classes, obviously, like when we discuss the actual where you go next, the weird thing is like you're in that not one class, but like one of the classes where it kind of sucks the different weight classes, because if you're an 82 and a half, 83, like, yeah, it's a half kilo difference, but like you compare yourself to like all the other lifters. 100, you're stuck in the middle because the rest of the world has 93 and 105, and you're neither of them. So it's like it kind of sucks. Like, yeah, you could like sort by 100, but like you're not really taking into account all the people that are maybe like a kilo or two heavier than you that are just like in 105. So it's like honestly, I hate that they made the switch. I'm not sure why they did it, honestly. Like, yeah, most feds have these weight classes, have like the 82 and a half, 100, whatever, 90. But like, there's really only two major tested federations, and they should have kept the weight classes for them the same, because if you're going to compare yourself, you're going to preferably, I mean, generally, you're going to compare yourself to the other best tested lifters and not to the untested ones. Not the best comparison.
Yeah,
I agree.
Honestly, I'm not too upset about it because, like, I spent time getting strong in 93. Then 100 came around, so I got to be 100. Then after this, I'm gonna be a 105. So I get to like gain that weight really slowly. You know what I mean? I'm not jumping straight from like 93 to 105. You know, so it kind of worked out for me personally. But you know.
Right. So it's interesting. I mean, it's right. The truth is, at this point, it's really like like, yeah, 100 is kind of just like a stop on the way between weight classes. So it's like kind of nice that like you can fill out or whatever, kind of fill out a medium weight class in between the two bigger weight classes. So yeah, that works out. Okay, so we'll start with like nationals. So coming to nationals, I would say like JJ, your breakout meet probably was like Carolina Primetime in 2022. Like that was like the meet that I think like more people started knowing who you were. But then even coming to nationals this year, like I probably listened to every like preview show. And I wouldn't say you were mentioned, but like you definitely were not like the favorite or one of the people that was expected to win the 100-kilo class. You kind of became like, and like honestly, like that was a fair take. Like your best total before that had been 822 and a half. So like you weren't like it's not like you had already been putting up totals like 850 plus. But then you come in obviously and you pull out the surprise victory. And I don't know if this is accurate, whether you were actually the first open champion who was a teen?
No,
I
I'm
don't
pretty sure
think so.
I saw a Pete Spence comment where he said like
I think Cole Metz
there was
did.
some like 15-year-old girl who won a long time ago.
Oh really? Right.
She's like
I remember
she's actually
seeing.
the youngest.
Okay, 15. That's it was probably like I don't know.
I guess you'd
47.
be at least like the first one to win in like recent times, like at least since the sport like exploded, you know, like since like I don't know 2019, 2018. Like at first I thought of like Ashton, but I think he won
Ashton,
at like
that's
20.
What I was wondering.
I think he won at 20. I don't think he was 19.
Ashton, like I remember, like he pulled like 700 at like 18 in the 83s, like when nobody was doing that. Like when open people weren't really doing that. Forget about like now, like there's teens doing it, but like when he did it, yeah, there was. But I don't know. I don't know who won. I'm trying to think. I don't know if Ashton won a national. His national.
I think it was 20. I don't exactly remember. Yeah. Anyways, it was just like incredible because. Go ahead.
I think Cole Metz did.
What year?
2018.
Was that the year was that the year he cut his hair to make weight?
That was like before my relevance, but I just remember that. Well, I don't remember it, but going back from research.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I remember. I'm not sure if it was nationals or worlds.
He was either he was either 18 or 19 when he won that.
Okay. Yeah, it was. Okay, so right, he presumably won nationals because went to world. So I remember he had to cut off his hair to make weight, which is, I mean, now you see people shaving their hair to make whatever. I don't know. It's like a kind of a meme. Like unless you have like really long hair, if you just have like a standard amount of hair, like it really doesn't weigh that much where it's gonna make the difference. I think. But I guess if it's at the end of weigh-ins and you have no choice, then you're probably screwed either way. If you're waiting till the end of weigh-ins to keep cutting to make weight, you're probably not in the best position. But okay, fine. So right. Oh yeah. So going to nationals. So yeah. So leading into nationals. At that point, you were self-coached also, or no?
No. For nationals, I was coached by Joe.
Okay, so you came in and what was your expectations for nationals? Like obviously you saw your training and you post most of your training, so it's not like thankfully I don't know why people I'll never understand the whole hiding training thing. It happens to be Midland's also very big into that, right? Did they let you post while you were there?
For the beginning of the season, they're okay with it, but once you start nationals prep, no, you can't post anything.
I really don't get it. The only thing that hiding is like even somewhat relevant is hiding your deadlift, because the only thing you can actually play games with. Like hiding your squat and bench is irrelevant. The bottom line is you're going to come in and you're going to put your opener, and that's going to be your actual opener, and it doesn't matter. It's like, yeah, deadlift, you can play games. Like people, I mean, a lot of times people just do it badly and they make it too obvious. Like if you put your deadlift like 30, 40 kilos more or less than like what people would expect, like it's kind of obvious that it's fake. But deadlift is the one thing where, especially like if deadlift is going phenomenally well and you just keep it at like a number that makes sense, then yeah. But I don't really get in general the hiding training. I guess maybe just like put less pressure on yourself, but I don't know. Yeah, so you were coming in, and at that point, like, was your expectation that like I'm gonna win?
I knew that I could win, but I knew that if John and Marcus had like the best day of their lives, I probably couldn't touch their total, you know.
Especially because I don't think you were in the primetime session, right?
No, no, I wasn't. I was in the day session.
Right.
Right.
So
That
yeah, go
that
ahead.
I think is a first. Right. I don't think that I'm pretty sure is first. I don't think anyone had ever won out of prime time before. Like I'm pretty sure that nobody had ever won out of prime time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not
I
sure
don't
about
think
that.
so.
Did you go in person to watch the later
Yeah.
session?
Yeah, I was there.
Oh, you have to. Yeah, you can't. Right. You cannot watch.
Yeah,
Then they're literally like.
I was in the audience hating so hard.
Because I mean, you had totaled like what, like 50 kilos above your best, and even it was from
Yeah.
like a whole year before. Because actually, like going into nationals, you kind of had like a down meet. Like you still did, yeah, you still did great at like Carolina Primetime 3, but it's like
No,
yeah. I mean, what happened on that? I totally
I
forgot
broke my
because
back.
oh God, so it was like
No,
a injury.
yeah, I just had a back strain. I couldn't really lift for about 3 weeks. But like the week
Oh, okay.
before CPC happened, I could lift. So I
So you're
was
like,
like, I
I'm
was
gonna just
healthy,
do
but
it.
I was just weak. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Because I remember you like missed your last two deadlifts, but like obviously we
Yeah.
don't know the whole story. So yeah, I mean, like, how did you feel after you like did your session at nationals, like before prime time? Like, did you kind of think with your total that you could potentially win, or were you kind of like it's still up in the cards, or like you just weren't sure?
I was pretty certain that I'd be on the podium at least. Because I hit like I think it was 876, right?
Yeah.
And the goal was 883. And I knew if I hit 883, I would be I thought that would for sure win. But I hit a little bit under that, so I knew that I had a good chance, but I wasn't positive that I had none enough.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely more difficult, like to win podium, or whatever. Like you have no idea what anyone else is doing. Like, I guess you just gotta just go and load like what you have, and that's it, and just watch it
Yeah.
unfold after. I mean,
Yeah.
that was the one nationals. I don't know if they're keeping the bad rule for this coming year, where they let like you could chip teen and junior records in the open, which
I think
is
they
kind
they got
Yeah, I
they
think
got
it's
rid
already
of
gone.
that.
yeah, I don't know who came up with that terrible
That's
idea.
funny because JJ and I we both used it.
I know. Well, JJ's is different also because like he chipped it, like he just did his chips like before anyone went. So like it wasn't even like specific like strategy. Like right, you use a chip, but like you have no idea if you need the chip. You have no idea like how much of a chip, like because other people have chips. Like do you chip a kilo versus a half kilo, right? All that stuff. But yeah, definitely. I don't know why they did that rule, but so then you're sitting there and you're just watching prime time, and then so who was I'm trying to think. You said Marcus and Jonathan Hill. Those were like
Yeah, they were the guys that I knew were gonna push really highly. And there was also another guy, Zach Yamamoto, but I think he missed weight or something. He didn't even compete. I don't know. I'm not sure what happened with him.
oh he didn't make it.
But he looked really good in the
Okay,
gym.
yeah, right. Jonathan did he miss like I think did he miss? No, not really. Okay, so he just right. You just straight up beat them. So wait, who came in second? It was
Jonathan.
John.
John. Yeah, John.
Oh, so right. So it happens to be it wasn't even close.
It wasn't that close.
No, yeah.
No.
Right. That makes it interesting. So like there was like once like the session started and like you saw everyone's openers and like honestly by the time squats were over, like there wasn't really it wasn't like it was close. Like it's one thing like you in the first session and then you have to watch the second session. You gotta watch like where people pull for their win or something. Like
Yeah.
here's
Like during the middle of bench, I did the math and I saw that like I think John needed to pull like 830, Kai needed to pull like 860, and Marcus needed I think like 820 or something. And I knew I was telling my friends that I won. Pretty hype.
Even before deadlifts. I mean, yeah, because
Yeah.
they would have to like do like pretty phenomenal to be able to do that.
right.
Yeah.
But I mean like that's rough either way. It's like it's bad enough like when like you win and it's like somebody pulls last for the win and misses, like it's much obviously you want to like be on the platform when you win. But here it's like you're not even like on the platform. You're just like you were in the stands.
Yeah, I was in like the back row of the seats at
Yeah.
halftime.
Yeah, I remember. I was sitting like towards the front. I just looked back, just like sitting by himself. I went up to like, hey, bro, I'm pretty sure you won.
That's hilarious.
Also, I remember. So JJ moved to Minnesota this summer. And when he first, like one of our first conversations, we were talking about Nats and just like what we were trying to do at Nats. And I was a little bit ignorant. I was like, "Oh, what are you trying to do? Like top 3, top 5?" And then he was humble. He's like, "Yeah, if I can be like top 3." And I said same thing. And then like a few weeks out, we were talking. I was like, "Oh, like you could legit like win this." And then like preview shows came around. I think 2 White Lights, like one person put JJ in 3rd, and then
Yeah, I think that was Solana.
Yeah, and then the rest of them
Developing
didn't even have him on his top 3. And I was like messaging a few group chats with like Angelo and stuff. I was like, I think JJ's legit gonna win. So it was cool.
I gotta find what my picks were. I don't remember. I don't know. I don't think I posted them for some reason this past year Nationals. But yeah, I'm not sure. Either way, so okay, so then for you, like Lucky, you came in and who was there? So obviously Russ wasn't there, but Sean was there, Angelo.
Jamar was the heavy favorite.
Yeah, because he had done what was it like 8:30 before 8:32,
Yeah.
and then he
Yeah.
just
right, Jamar, right. That's really just on his 8:30. Yes.
Yeah.
And then
So
it was the big shocker that he missed weight. How did
Yeah.
you feel when? Because I remember like it was like everyone was kind of in line to go to the warm-up room, and then people were like whispering like, "Oh, Jamar," or like I think my friend had actually texted me like, "Yo, like Jamar didn't make weight." I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like
Marcellus
told you?
Marcellus actually messaged me like before weigh-ins that he's not gonna make it.
Mm.
But he said not to say anything. So I'm just like sitting there and like all these 82s are like they're like, "Oh, where's Jamar?" And I'm like, "Oh, never he'll show up."
So I didn't even think about that. Everyone talked about like Ashton, Bob, same weight class, Marcellus, but with you and Jamar, the same thing. So who was supposed to handle you?
So usually on meet day, like Marcellus handles me. He calls my attempts. I'm pretty good at being objective on. I'm pretty good at being objective on the day.
Who was supposed to handle Jamar?
Marcellus as well. But
what
Marcellus will do is he'll like call the attempts, right? And then he'll have another person kind of help with other things. So my Oscar, who's also coached by Marcellus, he did like the plate loading. Actually, another guy, Oscar and John, like they helped with the plate loading and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't care. Nobody, whoever does the plate loading is irrelevant. It could be some random person. What I'm saying is like you would have the person who's calling your numbers also potentially be calling the numbers for your biggest competitor. Like it's a weird dynamic. Like I've seen it happen before.
I mean, I've seen it happen. It's not that big of a deal with Jamar because I'm going to pull more than him anyways. So
right. It will
be more. What will be more interesting at the Arnold with Nori, if Marcellus handles both of us.
Right now I forget that.
I totally forgot that Nori switched over.
Yeah, but I don't.
Marcel's going to handle both.
I know him well enough and I trust him well enough that he's not going to favor someone. And usually I just tell him the weight I want on the bar. Like you can't like at a meet. I watch the lifting cast the whole time. Like you can't I'm not going to take my eye off it. So in terms of like gamesmanship, I'll even watch it during a meet and to be like, oh, you should put in a false attempt or something like that.
I don't know. It's like obviously I've never been in that position or from that side. I've been from the opposite, from the handling side. But like, it's like I don't know. Handling. I actually did handle technically 2 lifters in the at Junior Worlds in the same class, but one of them was winning and the other one was in 5th. So it wasn't like they weren't really. It wasn't actually a battle head to head. But I don't know. Having like 2 people go head to head by the same. I don't know. That's tough. I guess if you I mean, Marcel's a good dude, and you trust him. You've been with him for a decent amount of time at this point. So okay, fine.
Yeah,
right, okay,
I mean, there was a bigger like Ashton and Bob, like that.
Yeah,
he did it for both of them, and like their third pulls were really close in weight.
right. I mean, that's right. So that's obviously like the recent time that everyone discussed it. I mean, there's also like the biggest time that it happened where, in my opinion, a lifter got screwed over, like at Worlds in like 2019 with Danielle and Amanda, where it's at least from like, I mean, I'm definitely not an expert now, and I obviously was not knew much less then. But even then, I remember watching and being like, this doesn't make sense. Like these numbers that are getting put in are just like are not the right numbers, and then whatever.
Yeah,
so,
I guess
like,
the reason I'm not too worried about it is because like every time it's happened, I've been the bigger puller, so I can just pull last. I suppose if you're the person who's getting chipped, it would probably suck a bit more.
Right.
So.
Yeah, like would you feel different if it was like someone who's like pretty close to you on pulls?
I mean, it's not
like
that
with
big
Sean,
of
he's close, but he's not like right on you. I guess it just depends how he does at the Arnold, but
yeah. I mean, I still not that worried because like I'm pretty good at telling him what I have left in the tank. So I'm just gonna tell him that number. And if someone beats me, I mean more power to them.
Yeah, I actually was gonna mention that. Like when I was looking through like your meets and stuff, like I was like just looking through whatever, just like the progression meets to meet. And then what I did notice that I didn't know before, because it's not talked about. Well, it's talked about with like a few lifters, but you've done 8 competitions. You've had 72 attempts, and you've only missed 3 total attempts, all of deadlifts. Like you've made that's like a pretty insane success rate.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty good at like if I don't feel good about something, just take 2.5 less. Because people don't realize that builds a bigger total at the end of the day. Like
I like that philosophy. I mean, in general, it's like if you just think about it from a purely math like standpoint, like especially if you're taking like decent sized jumps, if like let's say 7.5 is there at like a 90% like realistic thing, and 10 is 50%, obviously 7.5 is going to end up being a more profitable towards your total lift. So it's true. When in doubt, take 2.5 less.
I think people get a little bit. I mean, they get a little bit too attached to training numbers as well. And what I mean by that is, of course, it's a good indication of strength, training numbers. But like for me, my meet best squat is 287.5 right now, and my training best is 295 because that was after the nationals. If I go into like the Arnold hit 292.5, I'm happy with that, even though it's like below my training best because that's a 5 kilogram meet best. So I think a lot of times people they get lost in trying to like match their training numbers. They end up missing attempts.
That's true. Okay, so like back to nationals. So Jamar was supposed to be like Angelo, Sean, and Jamar. I guess would be like the 3 people probably would.
Chris Perez,
right? But was he like as one of the 3 favorites? I would say probably those 3 were probably the favorites. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong, but I think those 3.
I don't know. Chris is pretty like. I guess like Jamar was the heavy favorite because I remember though, his training was like going like really well heading into it.
Well, I'm saying Jamar was doing his like 770-pound squats in the gym, but the problem is
of course, and he has the cut, so I guess
I don't know.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm saying he's not even like that. He's big, but he's not like I don't think he has like an insane cut. I think he probably cuts less than Russ does. I don't know. I'm not sure. The cut could have just not went well or whatever. But yeah, either way, with the cut, he's not going to be squatting 770 at 83. It's not gonna happen. Or whatever.
I believe something too with I don't want to spread misinformation, but I believe the meet where he did really well at Corrupted, he was in the 3rd session, and then I think they had like a delay or something, so he had like 4 hours to recomp. That Corrupted, and especially if you're someone who's cutting 10 plus pounds, like that extra time to recomp. So that makes sense why he did so well there. I believe also in the Nats, like his back wasn't 100% either.
Right.
So
Oh, right. So it was those three, and also earlier it was supposed to be Mr. Questionable Natty. Jawan was initially supposed to be doing Nats last year. I don't remember exactly what happened there, but I think he might have dropped out like when Russ dropped out, because that was like whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But either way, so right. So Jamar missed weight, and then you come in, and then I mean you had like obviously a great meet. Like what was your best comp total before that?
It was actually pretty close. It was 807.5. So I totaled 813 there.
Oh, okay. So okay. So it wasn't like insane on that, but
No.
obviously you're going for placing, and like I don't remember the last pull, like it was 343. I don't remember like how it was, but that moved you into first. That pass, who did you pass?
Yeah. I passed
Who was like,
I passed Angelo. Well, I passed
Angelo was in first.
I passed a lot of people. No, because that pull actually temporarily put me into first place. Like overall.
Right. I'm saying you were pulling for first. So
yeah.
who was it? So Angelo was the one who was
I think it was
first.
I think it was Chris, and then because Angelo
Yeah.
would have been on the same total, but then he just had to pull like 2.5 at the end to take
so
the win.
he got 815 and I got 813.
Oh, and you know what? Actually, I remember it was like Chris had missed his last deadlift. So then I remember you had to pull like 7.5 more, like 350 or something to pull ahead. But then since he missed his last, you just had to pull, what was it, like 3 kilos over your best?
Yeah.
Like what did you have as like your top end? You said you're good with like knowing where you're at. Like what was the number that like, if this is the max I'll load to pull for the win?
I think I probably could have done like 347/766.
Right. Okay. So like 343. I mean, I wouldn't say comfortable. That's slight, like that's 10 pounds less. But so that was something that you like thought should have been there, and obviously it was. And then Angelo pulls after you, and
I mean our goal on the day was like, all right, we're just gonna go in there. We're gonna hit our attempts. Once we get to that third deadlift, we're gonna abuse that dumb rule and chip someone.
Oh, right, because you just had to do 343, but that would be like the record would have been, I think, like
way
360 or something. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Shun Jubril, he pulled I think 360 in the session before.
Right.
Which actually kind of screwed over Angelo because he couldn't use the chip anymore.
Right.
Actually,
wait, go ahead.
Angelo still might have been able to do like a world record because there's like so many different types of records now.
Yeah, right.
Because of when he lifted, he was in like the regular session, so it wouldn't count as like world records or something.
I think if you were in the regular session, you could still set a world record, but it just had to be like you had to get in. I know it's so weird. You had to get in international reps.
Can we please stop with these USAPL world records? It's so painful. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean it didn't matter at the end of the day because I think if I had to pull 345, I could have done it. So.
Right. Yeah. No. It's just that these whole the whole record. I mean, I like the regular record system. Like have it where you could chip it if it's a national record, and it can only be done at a national meet. I think it can be done also at like a regional meet if there's national refs. Is that Adriana? You're the ref there. That's correct. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So like I like that system. That's like the same idea as like a world record can only be done at an international meet, like Worlds or Euros or whatever. Like you can't do a world record at a national meet. It makes sense. Like the standard of judging should be better at higher level meets, you think. And also there's some level of like there's more competition to it. I don't know if that's part of the factor, but yeah, I just keep the world USAPL world records out of it. Don't let teen and juniors chip records when they're competing in the open. Yeah. Fine, that's forget about that stuff for now. Okay, so that was nationals. So then you came in second, and then you haven't. Right, nationals was in September this year, right? September.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Right. So it's only 4 months ago. Right. So now you guys are both doing the Arnold. Now the Arnold's a different meet, obviously, because it's another coefficient meet. What are your thoughts in general, like on coefficient meets, both of you?
I mean, I think it's the sport's still small, and it's the only way you can compare people between weight classes. So it'd be cool, maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 years from now, that if every weight class has enough competition where you could do that. But it's like the only answer currently for people in different weight classes to compete against each other.
JJ, what do you think?
Can I ask y'all's opinions first?
What?
Can I ask your opinion first?
My opinion, I
Yeah.
kind of agree with Alex, which is that like I don't love coefficients, especially just because like we've seen like 4 different coefficients in the last like 7 or 8 years, and they keep changing them because each one's biased to a certain thing, and then they try to make it better. So it's like it's weird to have meets where like it's scored by a coefficient, but then if you look in 5 years on like whatever the new standard is, right, it'll show different placings. Like that just like seems weird. Like obviously,
Yeah.
I don't know a necessarily. I don't have an answer for how can you fix it, right? They're trying to, whether it be the Arnold or any meet where you're not competing against just your weight class. Like I don't know what the answer is. So you're gonna have to do a coefficient, but like it's more like not like I mean you don't have a choice. You have to do a coefficient. But like what's bigger to you? Like coefficient meets versus like weight class meets. Obviously like this came up big this past couple weeks. So when with people discussing like Sheffield versus Worlds, with a lot of people, I'm surprised the amount of people that considered like winning or doing better at Sheffield more important than like winning Worlds. To me, like it seems like Worlds like should be like that is the massive meet, and Sheffield's like a spectacle and it's like fun and it's whatever. But like especially because like it's not they're like obviously the formula is even stranger, so it's not even like a form like at least like dots or like Wilkes before it or whatever good lift points in the IPF. All those, while none of them are perfect, like they all had like a decent amount of research using like all the results and trying to like use an actual like statistic distributions to come up with a formula. Like it's not perfect, but there is something behind it versus like the formulas being used there. So yeah, so you have the same thoughts or you have anything different?
No, I think a little bit differently. I actually value formulas a lot more than probably a national title in weight class. Just because yeah, I don't think the sport is competitive enough to just want to win your weight class, you know what I mean? But like I feel like in 3, 4, 5 years it'll be different. And to the thing you said about how if you change the formula, the winner will be different, you know, in different meets that people do. I think it's still fun that that's the case because before you signed up for the meet, like you knew how it was going to be scored. So I think that's all that's important is you know how it's being scored. So the fact that it
Okay.
could change, it doesn't really matter, I think, because like you knew what the rules were, so it's fine.
Okay, that's about taken. Now I'll ask you a
I-
follow-up question on that. Let's say I'll give you an example. This example happened in Nats in Vegas in 2022, where Sam Calhoun was competing in the 67 and a halves, and she didn't win the class. I don't know. She might have come third even, or I'm not sure, second or third, whatever it was. But she was light, so she won best lifter.
Yeah, that's really weird, but if she's, I mean, she deserved best lifter.
Like, odds come on.
Honestly, I didn't.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah, I
what?
mean, she, if I'm right, she didn't get best lifter though, right? They
Yeah,
gave
that's
it
what I
to
was
the
about to
person who
Right.
say.
won.
Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
they said I like how they set it up where you couldn't win best lifter of that day unless you were the weight class winner. Mike, you're cutting out a little bit. Okay, I think you're good. Oh Lord. Anyways, yeah, I mean I like how they set it up where it was like you had to like they put importance on winning your weight class.
Yeah.
It wasn't
I
just
think that,
like, oh, you weigh in super light, like just to get best lifter and win the money. I don't remember how much it was, maybe 5,000, maybe 2,000. I don't exactly remember, but
yeah.
yeah.
I think that sounds better, but I personally don't agree with that.
Don't agree with what?
with her being best lifter on dots and not winning best lifter.
Oh, like you think like, I mean, it makes sense because you like value
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
dots more. Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah.
Mike,
What
are
is it?
you? I think he's still
What are
not
you gonna
here.
say?
No, I was just saying like you value the dots, so it's like, oh, best lifter is best lifter.
Yeah, yeah,
Like who cares if they don't win the weight class?
yeah. But
Right.
I still like the weight class, because I think titles like they stand the test of time. Because of course, if you take someone from 10 years ago and you look at their dots then versus someone's dots now, like there could be someone in like 15th place who has the same dots as someone who won like 10 years ago. But that's showing what was relevant at the time. And there's other like examples with like sports, with running and stuff like that. So I think it shows like the relevance at the time, because of
you mean
course the
titles
totals
do?
are, yeah.
I don't know if that's true, man. Wait, how many titles does Russ have in the IPF?
I think three,
How many
two.
does and Delaney has two, right?
Yeah, I think they both
But
have
I don't
two
think
actually.
I don't think they're comparable, man.
That's the tough part though, because we're split right now. Like all the lifters aren't together. Like 2000 or 2021 and prior, that was good because we had best of both worlds. But it's like if a lifter, of course, there's less lifters. There's less lifters like 5 years ago, so it's easier to win. But if someone wins like 5 titles, it shows they were dominating their time. And of course, well, even like Russ, at some point, he'll become irrelevant. And like 10 years from now, is total, someone's going to beat it. But does that mean they're necessarily like a better 83 than him?
No, what I think matters is that I mean the titles do matter a little bit, but I think what's more important is that he's just like overall one of the best lifters at this time. I
Yeah,
don't think
that's
he
why.
was
And you need titles to represent that, because dots with time are always going to become irrelevant.
even when he was competing at like 90, I think he's
Like JJ, would you rather win nationals, which you did, or come like second, but you weighed in super light, so you're the best lifter of the whole meet?
uh
So would you so would you give up your national title, your open national title, in order to like I think Austin was best lifter, like to be best lifter.
uh if my dots would have been, like 620, then yeah. But
Okay,
I don't think
fair.
that yeah, but like my dots isn't that impressive, so I'm not gonna risk the title for, 545 or something.
Yeah, like I mean, I could see both because like what Lucky is saying, like the title is the title, like you can't take it away. Like for instance, Kimberly Walford, I don't know how many titles she won, maybe 5 or 6, but her total from then like isn't really comparable now.
Yeah.
But she's still like she could be considered, like if you had a GOAT conversation, she could still be considered the GOAT because she was dominant for that long. Like what was
Yeah,
good for that time.
exactly.
But then at the same time, like I think in all sports, there's always a debate of like who's the best of the best. So like even if the sport progresses to where, oh, each division is super competitive, like I think people will still always want to see who's the best, and like whether that's dots or whether that's like Sheffield, like how it's scored, like who's the best. So I don't know. I see value to both, but it's kind of like it's just weird. Like I think like my perspective is like when I watch the Arnold or like the Virginia Pro or something. I mean, that's not there anymore, but like let's say the Arnold, it feels different when you have to, like, just from a spectator's point of view, it feels different when you have to like pull out a calculator and like see like, oh, who's like what's the dots point, like are they off by 1 point or whatever. I guess it feels different watching the Arnold versus watching Sheffield, where it's like, oh, you're trying to be the best of like how far can you push that world record total. So Like it's like, yeah, you need a calculator, but it's like a different type. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like because I guess maybe it's like the production difference too. Because like
Yeah.
Sheffield is like the best meet ever, so of course it's gonna be fun to watch. So I don't know. I can see both. Mike,
Yeah.
are
I
you
think
good? Oh, go
I,
ahead. Sorry.
I think for the time being, it's the best we can do until
Yeah.
the sport's gonna have to get a lot more popular to have those battles in every weight class. And hopefully it becomes something where all the top lifters go to a certain fed so they can actually battle it out, which it's looking like that's starting to happen
Right.
with
For
everyone
sure.
switching. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so we covered that. So we're moving into the Arnold. We're like what, 2 weeks out? So pretty close. So what are you guys' we can start with Lucky. Like what are your goals for the Arnold besides like is your goal to like take it all, like take the money? Because I think it's either 25 or $30,000. Um, or are you kind of aiming to like place? Because as it stands right now, with like the roster, I think Borenstein and then Keenan are kind of at the top with 575 dots. Just the best like they've done so far in the past like year or so. And then after that, we've got like both of you kind of in this like range from like 540 dots to like 560. And there's like a good like chunk of lifters there, like 5 or 6 lifters, including both of you. So I just want to kind of see what your perspective is leading in.
Yeah. So I know Keenan, or not I know Keenan, but he hasn't seemed the most healthy, but he still seems fairly strong currently. So we'll have to see what he hits if he misses a third squat or something, if he opens the door. But he's gonna pull after me regardless. So he's
Right.
kind of out of question. Like he can determine his own destiny. But Borenstein, I think I'll probably beat him on total, but he'll outdots me.
Right,
Because
because it's moving up.
because he's gonna weigh in like 79-ish probably. I don't know what he's gonna weigh in, but he's gonna weigh in a little bit light, and I think our totals will be somewhat close. And then I mean you could include Nori in there too.
Right.
Because he's right around well, I mean, I like at Nats, I beat him with my second pull. So he's gonna be right around there too. He's just the question of hitting attempts.
Yeah.
Like which he's really yet to do. I do think with Marcellus he's going to do a lot better though, so not going to count him out. I like to assume everyone's just going to be at their best, so assume he's going to hit his attempts, and we'll see. I do pull more than him, so I don't know. My goals, like if I were to talk about goals for the meet, 10 times body weight would be cool. I think that's fairly realistic to hit, and then just go in there, hit my squats and my bench. We'll see where we're at after my second deadlift, and we'll just pull for something.
Are you going to weigh in? Oh, go ahead.
Because I believe people who are going to pull after me who would beat me would just be Keenan. I mean, potentially JJ, if his pull shows up like crazy strong, or if I miss like a squat or something, he could pull in front of me. I don't think Joe Borenstein is going to pull in front of me, so I should have like the third to last pull. So that'd be nice.
Fair. What are you planning to weigh in under 82.5 or kind of float above? Because like this is interesting. The Arnold,
Yeah,
it's like you don't
plan
have to
on
weigh
making,
in your weight class.
Yeah, I plan on making weight.
Okay.
But if it's
Oh, yeah.
something where I wake up like 84 and I have to like spit out 1.5 kilos, I might just stop at like 83 or something, because
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. And plus, if I weigh in at 83, that total will still be like relevant international wise.
Yeah.
To compare
fair.
it to. So, but I plan on making weight. I'm not heavier than I've been before. Like this is the weight I've been like the past year. So.
Okay. And then same question for JJ. Like, are you kind of aiming for like to take it off, like the first place, like just depending how your training is going, or like kind of the same as Lucky, where you're just gonna try to place as high as possible?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I'm probably like sitting around like I must be like I think I'm like eighth or ninth projected, but I think like based on how training is going, probably around like fifth or sixth. I'm just planning on going 8 for 8, then yielding my last deadlift, try to place pretty highly, get some money.
Okay, nice. And then I guess that leads to the next question. What are your plans after the Arnold? We can start with JJ.
This question's so hard, man. Like with the split, then that's being kind of empty this year. Like it's just
Hmm.
so hard. So like at this point, what I think is most likely to happen is I start gaining weight. Try to get to about 105, 106 kilos. Then I'm pretty sure at the moment I'm gonna compete at 110 at USAPL Nats.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then for Alex, I think we know your plans, but we'll ask you anyways.
Yeah, it's tough because this year for Junior World, since Joe's going over there, to actually be competition. Because last year I think the winning world total was like 760 or something for 83s, or like 770. But this year there'll actually be competition facing off against Joe, which I really want to do that, but it just like I have to travel to qualify, which is stupid. You have to like either drive to another state or fly to another state just to qualify. And then I have to fly to Nat or fly to Junior Nats as well. And between the two of us who would win at Junior Nats, I don't think it would matter because I think we would have a highest good lift, or we would have a high enough good lift to get the alternate spot between
Right.
our two. So I think we would both go regardless. But really it just impacts, I'm a newer coach, like within like the past year. It impacts coaching a lot for
Yeah.
me. Especially like being newer, I want to get as much experience as I can handling in person. So it impacts it so much. So I'm probably just gonna stick USAPL, do Nats, and then switch over. Especially by 2025, I really like my chances against open 83s. Like I almost did open this year.
Yeah, that would have been cool because I think like what'd you total in the gym? It was something like
I did
nuts.
830.
Okay, yeah.
So I mean, I was very, very close to doing it this year because mine says of course, I'm going to assume Russ is going to be at his best, but he hasn't been down to 83 in since
Like 2
Vegas,
years or something.
since
Yeah.
Vegas.
Yeah.
And he tends to get some sort of injury whenever he gets low.
Mm.
He's able to work through those injuries, but he seems to get some sort of injury. But he just hasn't been down there in forever. But there also is the aspect, he is Russ. He always seems to get it done no matter what. Like people like say he's always getting so heavy, he's not hitting depth, blah blah blah. But he always does seem to get it done no matter what. So you can't count him out. I mean, he's the favorite. But I did debate going open PA this year, just because especially if Russ struggles to make weight or gets injured on the way down. I like my chances there, but just gonna play it slow because that's what I've always done. I don't want to rush things. I'm still fairly new to like being towards the top, if you want to call it that. So there's no reason to rush things. Just keep on training, take those small PRs and just build up over time, because when you try to rush things, that's when you get injured. So
Right.
that's why even with the Arnold, I'm not trying to like go in there and, I mean, if it happens, but I'm not trying to go in there and hit like 845 kilograms. Just trying to go in there, beat my numbers from Nats, do something realistic, get back to training, steadily add. Because I'm still fairly young. I mean, I'm 22, so.
Yeah, that's still young. That's still very young. Yeah.
So there's no reason to rush anything. I know it's kind of a boring answer, but
No, it's fair. Like you seem like even what you were talking about earlier, like, oh, I pretty much know like what I have left in the tank on meet day. And it shows because you haven't missed, like you don't miss attempts. like Mike said, you only miss like 3 attempts in your whole career, which is just like crazy. So it just seems you're very like methodical. Like I think a lot of junior lifters, like it's kind of the trend to, I don't know, overreach, like both on meet day and also in like expectations, like, oh, I'm gonna win open worlds by this time, like when progress is going crazy. But you see more like, okay, like you don't have to necessarily go to powerlifting America this year because
Yeah.
you're taking it slow and you're not like forcing progress to the point where you're going to get injured. So you'll have that next year potentially.
Yeah.
Like a lot can change in a year, so we'll see.
And if I were to go this year, it would just be for Junior Worlds. And I do think it would mean something more this year compared to previous years because there's competition. But it's still a junior title, and I really don't care that much about junior titles. Like if I could have gone to Worlds last year, and I don't think anyone would have gotten close to me. The previous year for Junior Worlds, that was when there's like Sean Jin, Nick Manders. That one would actually be pretty tough. But if you look,
Yeah.
like I've never really done junior meets. I never did teen meets. I always just competed open. And I'm not trying to brag and diminish people who do junior meets. I just figure like if you're good enough, just compete open. Like you go get 7th place and open instead of winning juniors, but it's whatever.
Wait, so just speaking about, I'm not sure. I missed a lot, obviously. You were talking about potentially going to junior nationals and then junior worlds. That's what you're just talking about.
Potentially, but most like that's a very small chance because I was talking about it impacts coaching a lot.
Oh, right. That's a big thing. I mean, right. People have been saying, I don't know if you mentioned this already, that like hopefully there might be a change to Article 14.
Yeah, I've heard the talks. So
yeah, I mean, I was talking to Sean about it for a while the other week, and like there's nobody has any sort of like legit like source that says like it's actually going to happen, but technically Article 14 is illegal, so
yeah,
it's a matter of timing. It's not gonna last forever, but I don't see anything pointing to it stopping now. So right, that'll affect anybody who coaches. You were saying like how like you could have won easily last year, which is like last year 765 won it. So obviously that's not really a number. Like forget about travel, all that stuff is irrelevant. Like 765 is nowhere near you. And like the year before, actually, right, it was actually a good. There were like 4 lifters who were all like pretty capable of like the 800 range. The one thing I would say is like of all classes, like maybe your class, not that it would be competitive right now, but like your class is the one thing where in the juniors, like that world record is like I'm pretty sure it's the longest standing junior world record. John Hack's 813. So like even though like yeah, it's still the juniors, like that's the one junior world record where like it's kind of meaningful. Like
that's true.
In my opinion, like the GOAT's record, and also it's also like one of the records where it's like, I mean, it's not crazy 813, but it is like relatively high. Like a lot of the weight classes, the records in the juniors are like nowhere near the open. Like they're miles away. Like that's still only like forget about the open world record. 813 would have won open world the last 2 years.
Yeah, I think Delaney got like 815 and then 815 this year, and then
like 805
it was like
the year before.
Yeah.
So like yeah, so that's still like that's a number that like is still a very good total. Like it's still you still don't have that many people that can do that, and it's also a decently meaningful record. I mean, it's funny because like 813 is your total.
I think 83s will, or 82s and 83s will. I mean, been saying this the past years, but I think they'll really step it up. Because right now they're just. I mean, Russ and Atwood are outliers, but compared to them, 83s are just bad. Like we're getting out totaled at a weight class below.
Right.
It's embarrassing.
So it's always an interesting thing, all right? There's always like the weight classes that we feel like these weight classes are the hot weight classes in terms of competitiveness versus like these are the ones that like are pushing it, and then like somebody will come in a different weight class and like shatter some plateau, shatter some record, and then people will level up and like it changes, right? Like obviously like 800 at 74 was like the biggest thing in the world a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
When Taylor did it, and now like
it's
obviously
like
Taylor smashed it. Perk was at 75, but he smashed it. And now like Shell hit 800. We got like a couple other 74s who probably will hit 800 in the next year. So right, it is weird when you get to the point where like the weight class below is like right with your weight class. But yeah, I do
it's
think
like the Roger Bannister first 4-minute mile. Like you just need someone to hit it, and then others will smash through it as well.
right.
And I still think it's probably going to be Russ is the one in 83 to put it at 850, 865-ish. I don't think it'll be at this open nats, potentially at Worlds, as he just sits near the class a bit longer.
Well,
but I think it'll be good.
It definitely won't be at Worlds because assuming he does win Nationals, which he's the favorite, obviously, he's going to be a heavy favorite at Worlds and probably will keep his total as low as it's needed.
Oh, yeah. Sheffield, excuse me. I forgot about that.
That I hate it. I mean, I love it. I love Sheffield. It's a fun meet, but like, I hate that like we don't get to see like some of the performances that we used to see at Worlds. But yeah, I mean, whatever. It's only going to affect some weight classes. Like certain weight classes, you can't really. And like the Battle of the 93, it's not like, oh, I'm just going to chill because I want to. If you chill, you're just going to lose. So
yeah,
I guess you earn it. You earn it by being more dominant enough in your class that you don't have to push to win. So I guess it's right. So
I think he should go. Whoever goes to Worlds for 83 should win pretty. Whoever wins from America should win pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I mean they'll be favorites. I don't know. I don't know who's coming from the rest of the world's coming that maybe it's gonna have had like significant progress, but whoever it is that goes from the US will be a big favorite. And I think I heard you mentioning this when I was like cutting in and out before about Russ, how like people always say things, but the bottom line is he gets it done in meets. I mean, although he should have bombed out at Nationals that year, not sure how that third squat passed, but since then it has been better. But it still will be different, right? Like he's gonna have to, even if his squat is better or whatever, like he's gonna have to adjust, right? Like we see like Gavin squats that look good and they get overturned all the time. Like it still is just it's stricter than USAPL and stricter than everything else. Like for good or bad. Like I'm not saying it's a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing actually. I think there should be standards and you should hold them and that's it. You shouldn't like make it stricter than what the standards are.
I think he actually does pretty good at Worlds usually. Like the last time he did Worlds was solid.
I think that's true. It's true, but he's at least based off his training, he's like pushing so much heavier weight now that like
I mean, you can already see it. You can already see it like his recent posts. Like it already looks like he's getting weaker, and it looks like he's
double. It's pretty hard,
and it still looks like he's like 15 pounds over. So that's why I say like it's gonna be interesting because it always seems like he gets some little tweak, and he just hasn't been down there for so long. But then at the same time, he's always got it done. Like the squat depth, remember always like the squat depth talks have always been out there. Like the weight cut, people have always talked about it, but he's got it done every time. So he's gotta assume he's gonna get it done until he doesn't.
Valid. So okay, you guys. I assume you guys already finished talking about Arnold, or
it was pretty quick.
Okay, fine. Anyway, so then we could just move on. JJ, did you already talk about plans going forward?
Yeah, pretty much. I just said that I'm gonna do USAPL Nats at 110. Then I'll probably try to switch over to IPF next year.
Okay, next year. I mean, and when you go, I assume actually there's no point of assuming you are gonna look at the juniors or the open or
I really, really, really want to be competitive in the open and try to go against Ashton at at PLA Nats, but that's just like me hoping, you know what I mean? Me like begging that the 12 pounds or whatever I get to put on like does a lot for me. But most likely I'll just be doing the juniors.
Go for all the smoke.
Wait, so why are you doing Nats open Nats at 110?
Oh, just to I want to be around 105, 106, but just to like start gaining weight.
Yeah. Okay,
I don't want to fill out or anything, but
right. Yeah. No, because I'll say like in a way you're not really like if you said you're weighing like 221 now, like it's not even like you're super filled out in the hundreds yet.
Yeah.
Like most like people sit like in the hundred. Once you get to that weight class, people usually could easily sit like 8-10 pounds above. So, which is not always advisable, but yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Is
So
that
I was
is
gonna
that
s-
kind of? Oh, go ahead.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say something too. It's a little bit less relevant now, but I like the aspect of trying to just win one in the USAPL first before switching over. I mean, we saw like Perkins did it. He won one. Angelo won one. So just trying to go win one and then switch over. I mean,
So
it's not going to mean as much as it used to, but
yeah. So I would say I hear that, and definitely like this past year, last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I would have totally agreed with that take, especially when the majority of the top men were in the USAPL. But like it's getting to the point. I'm not saying it's fully there yet, but it's getting to the point now where like almost all the top men are gone. Where, especially, I think, and a few more will probably switch next year. Where like winning nationals, like obviously, will not only won't be as much of an accomplishment as winning worlds, but like it'll be more on par. Where like would I value an open national championship or a junior world championship? And I think it's gonna. I think it's like getting close. They're getting closer to each other like each year.
yeah, that's
Yeah, yeah, for
definitely something
sure.
I've debated, like open nats versus junior worlds.
Right. But you're what year are you born? You're
So I was 2001, so I think this would actually be my last year.
Yeah, this will be your last year where you're a junior. And JJ, you're 03?
Yeah, both three.
Okay, so you would have 2 more years where theoretically, if you wanted to, I mean, you could always do open nats, and then if you don't get a spot, you could always do junior nats. Like if
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was actually, I don't even think you would. I'm not even sure if you would need to do junior. I have to check. They change the criteria every year, but I'm pretty sure last year that your open nats total would qualify you for getting the junior world spot. Um, I'm not sure if it's still the rule, but I'm pretty sure last year and 2 years ago that is how it worked. Okay, so right,
Yeah.
so you'd go 1-5, and then Alex, when you would for sure, not for sure, but most probably would not be switching this year.
No, just because if I were to switch, it'd be for junior. And I just there would be competition, like I said, but it impacts coaching a lot. And it's only a junior title at the end of the day. So it's like go to Nats, compete, and then by 2025, like I said, I like my chances against anyone.
So
So
this year for Nats, who are the 82 and a halves that are still going to be there for open Nats?
I think Nori.
Nori said he's definitely not sure if he's competing at nationals.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
you said
that's
this is
pretty
the
much
last meet he's doing with elbow depth, where elbow
Yeah,
depth isn't a
that's
rule.
right. So
yeah,
right.
but if he goes to PA Nats, doesn't make it,
No, he's
and
not doing
then
PNS this year. No, so
oh,
he
I see, I
he
see.
said when I spoke to him, he said he's almost for sure not doing nationals, because he even if he doesn't necessarily he's probably going to switch next year, but also he has a few athletes left and he'll focus on coaching at this year's nationals. And
I
then
see.
most of his he said the way he said it was that most of his top lifters are going to switch to Powerlifting America, and then most of his next level lifters that are nationals now aren't going to qualify with the new qualifying total. So he's not going to really have much of a nationals roster where he has to so much worry about his coaching business.
Yeah.
So he's very unlikely to be doing it. So I'm not sure. And then right,
I
obviously,
mean, you're not
Rob,
gonna see me. You're not gonna see me out there if assuming I win. You're not gonna see me out there like bragging about it and throwing that in my bio. Like,
well, I mean,
just gonna
you can
just
still you're hey, you still be a national champion. Like, yeah, okay, yeah. If you went out there and won with like a 780 total because nobody else showed up, fine. But if you go out there and you total like 830, 840, then like that's whatever. But
yeah. But I mean, do that. Maybe get best lifter. I'm not sure for the day. A little bit of money, and then go over do it next year. That's the plan.
so that means at least for another, based off that plan, you'd be staying 83 for at least another year, or you would theoretically
Yeah.
93.
That would be 83. Like I said, when you talked about weight classes, I'm surprised I'm still able to be in this class, but I feel pretty good. I'm not super, super heavy. I haven't done like a big cut yet. Because I'm pretty sure I can cut from like that 87 range and still make weight, but I'm not. So I still have a little bit more room to grow. So if it's something where I just stall out, can't stay healthy at all, it's like, okay, we're just gonna go up. We're still young. But if it's something where it's like, okay, we're making progress, we're getting to like that 830, 840, 850 range, it's like, okay, this is go win some things.
Okay. Right. And then JJ, if you'd be doing 110, so you would presumably have I'm assuming Keenan would be there, so you would have like legit competition.
Yeah. I'd be trying my best against Keenan.
Who else? I'm trying the 110
I think
David
what's his name?
Wilson.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean he was like a little off last year. He had like a lot of things going on just in general. But if he's like close to full strength, like he's totaled 900, so he's there. And who knows, maybe we get to see Jake Amendola come back at some point.
That'd be insane.
Yeah, I don't know. At least he's not missing like some of these other people. Like he
Like
at least
Chance.
we know he exists. Yeah, he's not hiding in Chance's basement or whatever.
Jake will come back benching 280 kilos.
I just noticed his touch with bench being so strong. He was getting like I think he totaled like 897 or something like that. Like he was getting like just in general like extremely like getting, I don't know, maybe over 900. He was hitting something pretty big before he fell off the earth. So I definitely want to see it. So it's always nice to see the people who have been there for years like that are still progressing. Like there are a lot of people who have been there for years but like either stagnant or like start falling off. And then okay, those people generally often are gonna like, I don't know, retire or whatever, but like not be as active. But the ones, it's not like super common to see the people who have been at it for a while and are like climbing to the top and still progressing and then just like stop.
Yeah. I mean, he's not that old. He's 30.
Right. No, he's not old, but I'm saying he's also like, he's not like the new age powerlifter. Like he's been doing it for like a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go back to something that you were saying before. You were saying like it would affect coaching. So in general, like, what's your like? I saw you've been like talking more on Instagram about coaching now. So like, how's that been? Like, how did that start? How's that been going?
Yeah, I mean, I've wanted to the past, I don't know, 2 or 3 years before I actually started, been learning a lot about it, but was hesitant to start because I just didn't want to be like the typical junior or teen who's somewhat strong, has a little bit of clout and wants to coach. So yeah, really tried to learn a lot before I started. And then even once I did start, like I don't advertise about like open spots all the time. If people want to join, they can join. So yeah, it's been going pretty good. Hopefully, probably like by this summer, be able to do it like full time. So that's cool.
Oh wow. Well, it's the funny thing is, so you were mentioning you don't want to be like that, the classic like teen, junior, or whatever. The funny thing is the person I always think of, like when I think of like the two people that I always like group together, like for the past bunch of years, were you and Aiden. And Aiden's been pretty successful, like starting like because you both were like 19, 20, whatever, competing in the open, putting up like pretty big numbers, whatever. And then like so I always thought of you. And then like Aiden, obviously, I don't know, joined like the Nori coaching, like whatever was it, 2 years ago or something like that. And like I've seen like some of his lifters and I've heard him like talk about coaching and all that stuff, and like he's obviously knowledgeable. I mean, the fact that Nori hired him means he obviously made a pretty big impression. So yeah, I mean there definitely are some like good ones. Like yeah, there's plenty of like, okay, I'm strong, I'm gonna start coaching, whatever.
I think Joe's pretty solid. Like Joe Bornstein. He has like Matt Fonville, other young one.
Yeah.
So right. I think Joe Bornstein has like Joe Bornstein has like 40 something. Like he's definitely doing it.
Yeah, I know. I saw that he posted that recently where he is. I was like, wow, like that's a pretty insane like roster to have, and like
Yeah.
real like, not like there are people who have a lot, but it's like just a lot of like low level people who just see, oh, this kid's strong, let me hire them. But like he actually has like a bunch of like pretty solid lifters.
Yeah, he's pretty smart. He knows what he's doing.
Right. So you're gonna make that, you want to make that full time, and you think you could do it soon.
Yeah, I mean, I've could have been doing it by now, but I've been pretty selective with who I accept. Like, I probably reject like 60% of people, 65% of people who reach out. So I'm not trying to brag about that, but I've just been fairly selective. I'm not like, I could have just taken 40 people and try to do it full time, but it just doesn't seem sustainable, especially being newer. Like, I only started actually charging people like 10 months ago, so it just doesn't seem like smart or even ethical to take on 40 people right away. Just I took on like 5 to start, and then I just add a few a month from there because I just get used to it. So
Yeah, I think that's the best way of doing it. Also, just like you'll have an idea how much time it takes, like how many people you could handle, and also just
yeah,
like if you take everyone, like yeah, in the short term you're making more money, but like a lot of times random people are not going to be long-term clients. They're not either
yeah,
serious enough about powerlifting, or they're like, oh, they're going to have like a bad cycle and then leave. Like you want the people, like you want to be able to be selective. Like not everyone has the opportunity. Some people like if they're doing once they're doing it full time, if they like need the clients they need it. But
yeah.
like while you so wait, what do you said before you do it full time? What are you currently doing? Like, are you in?
So I
Are
just
you,
no, I didn't go to school or anything. So that's kind of a little bit of a struggle, like trying to figure out what I wanted to do these past few years. Um, then found lifting. So it's just like jobs here and there, but nothing that's necessarily a career. But coaching is like the first thing where it's like, okay, like this is pretty sustainable. It works well for lifting. I enjoy it. I get a lot of fulfillment out of it. Gives me a lot of freedom. Don't have to be anywhere.
yeah, that's definitely.
So yeah,
I mean, definitely like
that's
as powerlifting is growing, which it really is. I mean, hopefully in the future, like there's more money in meets in itself and sponsors where like people can get like significant chunks for being high level. But like even before that happened, just with the rate of growth, like not just in people competing, but in people doing powerlifting, like you'll see, like I see in my gym, like not so many people who compete, but so many people who are doing powerlifting. And it just
yeah,
means there's a lot of people who need coaches. And like,
it's crazy.
so
Even like Minnesota, Minnesota is fairly big for powerlifting. Like we have, well, I wouldn't say it's big compared to like Texas or somewhere on like the East Coast. But even in like the 3 or 4 years I've been going to a powerlifting gym, it's crazy how much it's grown and how many like new gyms have opened here. And Minnesota is a state when like people think of lifting, they probably don't think of here.
right.
Yeah.
Well, also they technically aren't. You can't get a USAPL membership in Minnesota.
I know. We don't exist.
Right. You guys don't exist unless you already. I mean, if you already were a member in Minnesota, then you're fine. It's just no new ones,
Yeah,
right?
I was super lucky because I like had I had like membership, like I did like register like a month before we got banned, so I was chilling.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, JJ, what about you? Like, what's your like? Do you do coaching? What's your like whole situation?
Yeah, I have a very small roster for coaching, and I have a couple programs available. My main thing is renting cars, so nothing to do with powerlifting at the moment, but I
Would you want to? Like, is that like something you're looking at?
yeah. But in the meantime, I'm just, trying to learn, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to jump into anything serious at the moment.
Okay. So you might have discussed this before because you discussed the Arnold, but since I missed it, I just asked. So for the Arnold, like I know you said you don't have a coach. Are you gonna have a handler? Because as like a dot space meet, it makes it kind of a decently complicated thing.
Yeah. The owner of our gym is gonna come out to handle me.
The owner of you train the same gym, the Kilo, whatever it's called.
Yeah,
The older, Kilo.
Oh,
Kilo
I know
Strength and
their owner.
Performance.
Yeah,
Who's the
Yeah.
owner?
Sean
Shauna
Alexander.
Alexander.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then hopefully
He
Lucky can
coaches
give me some
too,
back
so
props.
like
Yeah.
what'd you say?
Yeah.
Hopefully Lucky can deadlift I'll then come around and give you
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm sure if people watch or listening to this have probably seen that. But at Nats, after I competed, I was like slapping JJ before his attempts too.
Oh yeah.
So the plan is like I really hope JJ's third deadlift is heavier than mine.
Well,
But
what
the
do you
plan
mean by
is
that, bro? What do you
I
mean?
really
Wait. Lucky, how much you
Dude,
plan
my
for?
third, my second's gonna be
I'm
your
seeing
third,
JJ
bro.
double 360, and I haven't seen you double
Dude,
360.
that's why I said I really hope it's heavier. Like it'd be bad if it wasn't.
Right.
What are you talking about, man?
I'm just playing. But yeah, the plan is for me to hit my third attempt, and then I'm just gonna like slap JJ before his third. So it would be good. I can't slap him before his like squat or his bench. I slap him so hard to it's like it actually feels like I'm just hitting a wall.
JJ, are you doing any sort of cut like for the dots, or you're just gonna chill?
Right now I dropped my calories down about 200. So, my goal is to weigh in at like 99. But if I'm 100, then that's fine. I'm not gonna try to take that too seriously because my squats gets affected really hard by me being light. So
yeah, it's not
I'm not trying to risk it.
right. It's not worth trying to like water cut a couple of kilos like
Yeah,
for the dots if you're gonna actually directly take the impact. Like especially somebody who's like a big squatter, it's definitely gonna.
Yeah, it's not worth 10 keys off the squat.
Right. 10 keys for unless you were cutting like 5 kilos body weight. No.
Yeah, I don't see any benefit in trying to lose 1.5 kilos and then lose 10 kilos on squat.
Right. I mean,
I think that's kind of what Bob did, right? Like, didn't he weigh in at like pretty light, and then he kind of put up a total that's like, it's like 25 kilos under your best, but you still won. So, like, I think Ashton put up like a crazy total, but he was like a weight class up, so it's like, okay,
but
fair.
He did it because if I remember correctly, he was saying at the time like now he's closer and now he can do it without the cut, but he was trying to get that 600 dots then, and like
I remember
he wasn't going to get 600 dots weighing at whatever 105. So with the crazy cut, he thought it was possible. I mean, he didn't have his best meet, so didn't really get that, but yeah. So you're gonna be battling. Okay, so right, and then Joe's gonna be in your weight class for the Arnold. I mean, he's not gonna fill it out, so it's a weird thing where you have to beat him, but you also like to beat him, you have to beat him by like a decent amount.
Yeah, I mean he moved up. He's gained strength pretty good as I expected. So it'll be fun to. I mean, I think our totals are going to be fairly close. With still probably me being like slightly favored to have a higher total. But it should be fun.
He said he views you as his biggest rival. Would you say the same thing about him, or are you like moved on and thinking straight at the top 83s?
I mean, I think he's gonna be a top 83, and same with myself. So I'm like, yeah, I'd say at the Arnold, I'm like more worried about him than Nori. I mean, Sean's the homie. Sean's the homie. Like I like him. He's cool. He's coached by Marcellus, but he's gotta prove himself in a meet. He hasn't done that yet. And Joe's proven himself to be very consistent.
Every year I picked him to win, and every year.
Dude, his training going into this is insane, man. Like I really think he can have the best 83 total in the world if he goes 9 for 9 this meet.
I know, but I've said that for the last like not four, but definitely the last 3 years now.
Yeah, I'm not trying to diss him, but like he's just got to do it at this point. I'm not gonna. Well, of course, I'm gonna assume he's gonna be strong, but he just got to prove himself.
Right.
But yeah, I'll definitely say like going forward, like, well, Joe's gonna do Junior Worlds, and then we'll probably meet back up at Open next year for Powerlifting America. By that time, who knows if Russ is 83 or 93. Angelo's still going to be around. Chris Perez is still going to be around. So, but I definitely view, especially because Joe's closer in age.
Right.
Like he's like a year younger than me. So it'd kind of be annoying if someone younger than me beat me because that hasn't really happened. So
Right.
yeah, there's definitely things I can do better though. Like I can eat better, I can sleep better. Training's like pretty locked in like technique wise, but just a few things outside I know I can do better, and it should over like months of doing that, years of doing that, it should help.
And JJ, do you have like somebody you would consider a rival?
Yeah, I have a couple. I would say like right now, just being 100, my biggest rivals are John Hill and Marcus Adudu. But like just being a junior, my goal is to be the best junior lifter on dots or like points, whatever. So I feel a big rivalry towards Lucky, Bornstein, even like Nonso, just because he's so strong. You know what I mean?
You know,
Hamza,
that
pretty much every
that
junior,
actually
man.
leads. That's a good point. Let's we could get back to that. Totally forgot about it. Getting back to like the junior rankings. I have to pull up because I don't even remember what the actual order was. But what do you guys think about your rankings? Let's pull them up and then I'll pull up who was ahead. Let's find this. Where do I have this saved?
I like DM'd you guys. Are you talking about the ones that you guys made?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
I
I was
DM'd you
fifth and
about
Lucky was
that.
third.
I know. That's how I was right. That's how I was gonna right. That's what I was gonna ask what you
No, I thought JJ was ahead of me potentially.
um
Was I? Maybe I'm wrong.
I low-key don't remember. I just remember Bornstein was at first.
Yeah,
okay,
for sure.
yeah, I got it. So no. Oh no, you were fifth?
Okay.
Yeah. Lucky, you were fifth and JJ you were fourth. And
Hey.
1, 2, 3 was Joe was one, Callie was two, and three was Etienne. The guy who won 120
Yeah.
junior. Okay, so
Yeah, so I like DM'd y'all because I was just confused because I was like, okay, what formula are they going off of? Because you posted these rankings and I don't think you said in the caption or anything what it was based off of.
right. So
And then I went on like the rankings and I went like sorted it by dot, sorted it by IVF points, and I was like, okay, this doesn't really make sense. And then I DM'd you and was like, oh, like you're factoring everything, you're factoring titles. So I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Because I like at first I was like I was like, okay, I could just do, but then I'm like, it's kind of just boring. It's just like an open powerlifting list. So I'm like, okay, let's just like make a list. And obviously, like I looked at dots and all that stuff. Like you're not gonna have somebody who's like like you're not gonna have some dude who like won some championship in an easy weight class that has like a 500 dots like on the list. But yeah, so I'm saying obviously by dots, I think you were third by dots, right? I think just Joe and Callie. I'm pretty sure we're the only juniors ahead of you on dots.
Yeah, I think fifth is fair for me because if you give JJ the title and our dots is somewhat close, like within 10 probably. So I think that's fair.
And JJ, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's fair to be honest. I mean,
I think it could go either
maybe
way.
honestly, if I'm being objective, I would put Lucky ahead of me just because he's probably closer to being competitive in the open at this moment. I mean, not just like Nats,
Well,
but like
That's the thing
you
where
like I mean,
that's the
like
thing where
at World.
a hundred's a weird class. That's the thing.
right. That made it super complicated because like 100, you can't really compare to the rest of the world. But like
Yeah.
the one thing is like you totaled more. You out totaled the dude who won the 105 Junior Worlds. But that's also because like to be honest, it was just like a soft class. Like the heavy favorite was Anthony, and Anthony didn't show up. So like the dude won with like 855 or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely tough. Like that's what makes it so hard when you're like at 100 or 110, where you're just totally not. You're just not. You can't really compare yourself to the other classes, like the IPF classes.
Yeah. It is rough, but that'll change.
Right. So,
Is
so one
part
of you said,
wait, go ahead.
yeah, one of you said Nanso when you were
Yeah.
who's
I look at him as a rival a little bit.
Right. I mean, but you're not planning on going up 120.
No, but as long as at the like right now, I can compare our totals. What the weight's looking is that he's gonna like be in the 950s really soon. So,
Yeah, I think
but yeah,
he's doing open nats like for whatever for Great Britain soon, and he definitely is gonna. I mean, he's gonna break into the 900s. I don't know how far, but I mean, you have a chance to break into the 900s before he does.
yeah.
So
But it's just crazy that like last year he was in the I don't even know if he's in the 800s last year or like a year and a half ago.
yeah, he wasn't at like Junior Worlds the year before. I don't. He was not. He was not at 800.
Yeah,
But like he's actually a perfect example of what we were discussing earlier of like forcing yourself into the weight class. Like he was telling us that like he was I forgot how many calories, but he was eating like a super low amount of calories, having to do like an hour cardio every day, like just going to sleep starved every day to like stay in the 105s. So like it shows like when you're really at the point that you can't make the weight class anymore, and then like you force it for a while, and then you do finally go up. Sometimes you just see like crazy increases. But I think actually like our closer right. I mean, a person that like theoretically will end up being also a big rival is like Hamza because he's even younger than you also, but he's 105, which is like where you're ultimately going to end up. So if you do end up going to Junior Worlds, whether it be next year or even the year after, like that would be somebody you probably would battle.
yeah, that's true. I forgot that he was 105, but I gotta see at least 870 out of him, man.
Right. Yeah, he's also he didn't necessarily put up anywhere near his gym stuff on the platform, which is very common. Like, and it's common in general, but like even more, I would say, like probably in junior lifters, teen lifters, just because like you get like the clot and everything when you put these crazy lifts, and also like they're sometimes the training is not necessarily like their peak and everything's not necessarily like perfect. They have less like data and just like they value like gym PRs more than like the high like when you get to like most of the top open lifters, most of them like literally do not care about gym lifts at all.
Yeah,
So once you get to the point where like hitting a gym PR is meaningless to you, other than like the fact that it's showing you're getting stronger, like then you're more likely, more not for sure, but you're more likely to actually execute on the platform close to your like top end strength versus seeing people like put up 50 kilos less at meets than in gym.
yeah.
All right. So I guess before we sign off, do either of you want to like shout out anyone, your coach, or I mean for JJ, you don't have a coach, you could shout out yourself. But like sponsors or anyone that you just want to shout out. JJ, you go first. Or Lucky, whatever.
Shout out Sean Alexander for handling me at the Arnold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll say shout out Strength by Tons, my friend Carrington.
Carry.
Yeah. I already shouted out Marcellus. He's great. He's nothing but good things to say about him. I'll probably quit powerlifting before I leave him. So I'd say 110, of course. I love 110.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. I guess that's
Thanks a lot for
it.
having us on. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
it.
you. Thank you. It was
Yeah.
fun.
Shout out to us.
Yeah.
Shout out
Shout
to
out
Future
Future
Powerlifting.
Powerlifting.
Yeah, hopefully I
And-
didn't get too sidetracked. I can yap a
No,
lot.
it's good. It's good conversation.
Okay, cool.
That's what this is. Like, it's just yapping.
Yeah.
It's just yapping, but we're posting it, basically.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's
can I ask you a
fun.
question?
Yeah.
I wanted to know what do y'all think about the USA sweep at Worlds this year?
It's happening.
Ooh, I think
Clean
that
sweep. Clean sweep.
I've thought about this. I think the only one where it's like
Gustav.
tough. Yeah, Gustav. It's the
No.
93s.
Yeah.
But I mean, Brandon's
Yeah.
coming, and then
I
it's
would
like
say like betting odds that it's like maybe even we might even be a favorite to sweep.
I agree. I think in my
We're
mind it'd be
probably
like
not. We're definitely not from a betting odds perspective. We're definitely not a favorite to sweep because the bottom line is like people could get hurt, people could miss weight. Like we only have one person per weight class. But in terms of like in every single weight class, like the only weight classes that like I would say the only two weight classes that we're not like 85+% favorites in is like the 93s, and then like potentially like if Daniel Clements doesn't win the 66s, then whoever wins, like if Daniel Clements wins the 66s and then he's going to be an enormous favorite. But if he doesn't, then the other people are closer to the pack.
Yeah.
Like they're still ahead. They're still be the favorite no matter who wins. Like honestly, like we could see, I was looking at the roster the other day, probably like 6 people that total more than what won Worlds this year.
Oh yeah, the 66s are like stacked.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
like that's probably like the craziest battle at PA Nats this year.
it's a shame what's happened to America 66s like the past 2 or 3 years at Worlds, because we should have been winning that class every year.
We should have won that. Whatever. I'm not gonna. Somebody made two different people made major mistakes in the handling for the 66s at Worlds. That was ridiculous that we didn't win it. But and then the year before, like that was like a close bat. Like that wasn't. I wouldn't say we were necessarily stronger with Garcia versus Eddie Berglund.
Oh, Eddie won that. Yeah, I'll give him that. I'm just saying, like, if Dan decided to switch over or someone or Morgan
Yeah.
I'm glad the 66 is
also I want Dan to go and just like
all right, I think he cut out, but
that's another thing. Like Dan at Sheffield could do something.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I was saying.
Sheffield's gonna be stacked too next year. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, like next year Sheffield on the men's side is gonna be like, I wouldn't say as extreme as the women this year, but like more like the women's last year, where we're gonna see a ton of like I don't think anyone's gonna break by 10%. But it'll be like last year where like we'll see like tons of records broken and like people actually breaking it by a few percent versus like this year like
less than 1%.
Like 1%. Like and only 3 records broken. So
yeah. I think it's gonna be super American too. It's gonna be
crazy. It literally. I mean, we're gonna clean sweep, so that'll be 8, and then of course, if Gavin somehow makes it to Worlds, they'll give Gavin because Gavin's just their boy. He automatically gets a spot. Well, actually, he can't make it to Worlds. It's impossible because there's not going to be any wild card, any double ups in weight class. So it's going to be 1 per weight class, and he's not.
Is the USVI route like not a thing anymore?
No, you can't. You mean he was USVI?
It depends.
And then you can't go USVI, then US, then USVI. You can't like.
Suspension, right?
Yeah. So the problem is he's not signed up for Nats. So Keiko already beat him at Sheffield. So Keiko gets the spot unless Petrie out totals Keiko. So Gavin, I didn't even think about that. Gavin automatically can't get a spot.
Just throw him a wild card.
To Worlds. He can't get a spot to Worlds.
Just throw him in there.
Right.
He's gotta be there. Like
they got
to bring like a double team, like a triple team. I don't know. Like
they need part 3 of the his deadlift to Keiko pan on like the film.
Yeah.
Like panning, yeah.
I think like if the US brought 2 teams, like one team being Texas and one team being the rest of the US, those would be the first and second team based off points at Worlds.
Oh, dude.
On the men's side.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that's true.
Like Texas, just like Jesus, Ashton, who else is from Russ?
Petraeus from Texas.
Yeah, you could like that's like 4 right there.
I mean Perkins.
Oh, yeah, okay, it's a wrap. Wait, Texas. Yeah, forget about Texas. Might be able to clean sweep the men's side. No, they wouldn't. There's because no 59, but like they would win like 5 or 6 weight classes on the men's side.
What's the second best Worlds team? Is it Sweden now because they have Gustav and Carl?
On the men's side. On the men's side, right? So they got Gustav, they got Emil Norling,
and Anatoly. I mean Emil, not Anatoly.
They got Callie. They got. I don't know. Who knows if Berglund goes back to the 66s? I'm not sure if Sweden's number 2. Well, there is no other team. There's no other team that's gonna win, and no other team that's even gonna
There's no like
step
clear
second.
number 2 anyways.
I'm saying I just think they are the closest.
Yeah, I don't know who's close. I mean, maybe Great Britain, like they have Tony Cliff.
Yeah, probably either of those, like Great Britain
They
or
have
Sweden.
Jurens, they have Mo. I don't know. They have some people, but
Oh yeah, true.
yeah, there's nobody
They
that's
have,
close.
But Mo's at
They have-
120 now, right? So
But
they
yeah,
can't
most,
both come.
they have that 120 guy that deadlifts a lot, right?
yeah, right.
Indy,
Yeah.
Oh
Indy.
yeah, in Duraj. I
Yeah,
forgot about
Yeah,
that.
so
They have,
probably Great Britain. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no one close though. Like legit. Like,
Yeah. Like especially this year when everyone comes over.
Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, it makes sense. It's Worlds. Only being able to send one lifter sucks.
Right.
It'd
I
just
mean,
be
in the
funny to
past-
just like send 3 in certain classes and just win the podium.
In the past, like usually there's at least one class that gets doubled up, but
Yeah.
now it's like so stacked that I mean it still could happen because a lot of times people end up dropping out. So and then just whoever the reserve is gets the spot, and that could be a double up. But like Ellis McLean won Worlds back-to-back years where he was a reserve both years. So it could happen, but yeah. Okay, fine. Anyway, so thanks both for coming on.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Thank y'all. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
And good luck at Arnold's too. And
Yeah, will you guys be there?
I can't. I
No.
wanted to go,
Getting-
but I can't.
Yeah, I wish I was going. I'm getting married on Sunday.
Oh,
Oh,
So
congratulations, man.
Yeah, congrats.
That's awesome.
thanks. Yeah. Okay, fine.